The potential is there for this to be a special year for wheat production in the Texas Panhandle. That's if our farmers can just get some help when it comes to precipitation. The cold front that is expected to hit the area next week may be bringing us rain, maybe even some snow, and we'll hope for that because when I talked with Texas A&M AgriLife agronomist Jourdan Bell today, she told me that our lack of moisture in recent weeks has been very frustrating for area wheat farmers.
We have a lot of our dryland wheat acres that have yet to be planted. And in many years, we have farmers that go ahead and dust in their wheat on dry land or, just drill it into dry ground with the anticipation that rain will come and it will grow later. But this year, because of the extended forecast being so dry, many farmers have just withheld planting and have just been waiting to see what that forecast shows. So I guess we'll see how much moisture comes with this event, if it's actually a wet snowfall or just, a dusting across the region. But it has been very hard on wheat farmers this year, this very warm, dry fall that we've had. And, of course, even the irrigated wheat and much of the irrigated wheat that was planted early, farmers have had to keep those pivots going just to get a good stand. And it's been really challenging to get that forage production with the dry weather.
Now, the last time you and I talked about wheat, you were saying that farmers were perhaps going to go with more wheat this season, and that it was largely because of lower input costs for wheat compared to other crops. But now we've seen this big upswing in prices here of late. Are you hearing maybe even more enthusiasm from farmers about wheat?
Interestingly enough, I am. And so when we start seeing prices, go over $5, all of a sudden the interest in wheat and the fact that, they've always looked at it as a low input crop, or I shouldn't say always, but in recent years, they've treated it as a low input crop. There's some new thoughts about, what are some varieties that I should be thinking about, and what about management? So it has been frustrating in the sense that here is a great opportunity and commodity prices are where they should be, yet it is extremely dry. We're sitting in a drought, and we don't have the moisture to get this crop up. So it's just been frustrating because there's been a lot of interest and intention to plant wheat for that reason.
Yeah, so if we actually are able to plant, I would assume that you might think we would see a greater concentration of that wheat that is planted going to grain.
I think so. And, of course, one of the, also consequences of the drought has been the demand on forage. And especially from the dairy industry, we're really seeing a demand in forage. And in the southwestern panhandle, because of the drought, silage yields were below average. And so there's really going to be a lot of pressure on our wheat crop for winter silages, whether it's, of course, wheat or triticale, just a small grain silage. And so even though our grain prices are where they should be to hopefully help turn a profit, I think that we'll probably see those silage contracts and the prices increase as well. So it really will depend on the proximity of a field to a dairy. Of course, it costs a lot to haul silage, so you really do have to be in the proximity of a livestock operation to make that profitable. But I think we're going to see good prices in that area too. So I'm hoping that our small grain producers will be sitting in a good position for profitability, whether they're looking at forage or grain this year.
Indeed, wouldn't that be a good position for you farmers to be in? I appreciate Dr. Bell giving me time for our interview, and I thank you for visiting jameshuntag.com.